Hey guys, Twisted Auto Garage here with another video. Today I was going to show you how to install your very own cold air intake. And so the kit, I'll go ahead and throw it up on screen real quick. And this kit came off of eBay, it was pretty cheap, but it fits in very nice and you'll get rid of all your stock extra pieces of plastic. So this is before and this is after. Definitely shinier, I guess, but let's go ahead and dig in and let's see what the kit looks like. Alright guys, so when you go ahead and get your box open, and we'll start going through all the little things that come in the package. Now, this is your new aluminum intake. It comes with, coupler, and then a vacuum line, and then, of course, your clamps. This will be placed here to kind of space this piece up. So, and once you place that little spacer in there, you won't have to worry about this piece really vibrating around in your engine bay. This is very large. It's not like we have a billion horsepower here, but it also, the kit comes with instructions. These are kind of general, not really specific to each car. But I also chose to get one that came with a heat shield. Now this does add a little bit of weight down to your car. It's pretty heavy, but also we're going to get rid of a lot of the stock extra bulky pieces. So this can kind of replace it. And if you don't run with the heat shield over time, I've seen that sometimes the air filter itself can get burnt up, and it's not really a cold air intake if all the heat's just going onto it. Now this is kind of China special type of air filter. You definitely want to look to upgrade it to a K&N air filter in the future. That's what I run in my Tiburon over there. K&N just makes a nice filter, and you should be able to run down to your local AutoZone and get a replacement. So now that you kind of see what everything comes in the kit, we'll go ahead and get under the hood and get to the uninstalling part. Alright guys, so we're going to go ahead and take this thing out in sections, starting with the air box here, and then this system right here, and then you got your final system up here. Now I've already loosened things up already, that you can see right there. I already loosened it up just so make it a little easier on everybody, so you don't sit here and watch every little bit. But anyway, so we're gonna start with the air box here. You have a 10 mil nut right here, so you'll go ahead and pop that thing off. And then as soon as you start undoing this, you can start wiggling this out. Then we need to remove this section. Now this can get a little tricky because you have to worry about the upper radiator hose right here. So you may even have to just work on getting this piece out. But before this, depending on, now this is the 2.2 liter. So like I said, if you have a 4.3, it's gonna be a little different. This is another 10 mil. And then everything should start unplugging. There is the vacuum line on the other side of this. I'll give you guys a good look at it. That with a little bit of force, you should be able, that one. Anyway, you should be able to pry it off. And as soon as you pry it off, this will become free. Now, when that becomes free, you need to go ahead and undo your sensor right here for the AC. There you go. And then here's your, we'll just say part 3. Then you're gonna wanna go ahead and undo this clip here, which is just a simple pop tab up. Now on my car or truck, I didn't have anything holding it down here. I'm sure if you have a factory truck, and what I mean by that is no one's really tampered with it. This is a 2000, so it's had 18 years. So I'm sure someone popped and lost these things a while ago. I'm not the original owner. So what we'll do is you'll go ahead and lift this hose up, lift that hose up, and then see if you can wiggle it out. There you go. So then, you know, you obviously have so much room to kind of work around now. Now you could have gone ahead and disconnected the upper radiator hose and, you know, put a pan down there just in case anything dripped out and got that out of your way. That would have definitely been the easier way. Just so that would slide right out, but you know, it's a little bit fat. I didn't have to go back and get a, you know, if you can push it over a little bit, you definitely don't have to lose any radiator or coolant. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and start installing the new one. Man, there's so much extra room in here now. All right guys, now that the stock pieces are out, then you need to go ahead and remove the stock hose. You got an aftermarket hose that came in the kit that I showed you guys in the beginning, because the new port for it will no longer be right here, it will be up here. So you're gonna need to run a longer line. But with all this extra room, I'm sure you can figure out a spot to put it. But in the meantime, just take a pair of pliers, get the clamp off, which will be down there, and then you can wiggle this hose right off and plug a new hose in. Then once you come down here, the heat shield, now yours may not come with a heat shield depending if you want one or not. The heat shield utilizes this one, and this one. Now, you'll notice that this looks a little bit different than stock, and that's because you need to go ahead and remove the bolt that was holding the stock air box in. And to do that, it just takes another 10 mil and you'll get a nut slash bolt that looks like this as soon as you get it undone. Then you should be able to thread your new one in. You'll add a washer and a nut on the bottom, and then you put another washer here, and you'll put a nut on top when you put your heat shield in. You want to use caution when getting these out, because since mine's a 2000 truck, it's really old, and you're definitely going to have to use hand tools for this versus just using the impact gun. Ask me how I know. But just use caution with that. Your coolant line, you're going to want to tuck it here, and you'll see it in a second whenever I go put the GoPro back on and I install the heat shield myself. You'll want to push this as far as you can forward. Don't worry, as long as it's not completely crushing it, you should be fine. Then you'll have to move this wiring a little bit towards this way, and then your new heat shield will be placed right there. Now, coming down here, this is some of the stock parts from the truck. You need to go ahead and remove this sensor. And to remove it, what I did is just let it sit out in the sun for a bit, and then the plastic got nice and easy to flex. Then just place your foot there and pop it right out. You may have to wiggle it a little bit more than I did, but this piece will plug straight in to that rubber garment right there. So you'll just give it a little, and you can also leave that out in the sun too as well to warm up, so it's easier to move in and out. But anyway, I hope I covered a little bit of this stuff, and you'll see the rest whenever I go ahead and install it. So stay tuned. Alright guys, so what you guys have seen so far is me installing the heat shield. So you have a nut down there and a nut on top of here, excuse me. And these nuts are both 13 millimeter instead of the regular 10 millimeter that was initially on the first nut. But you saw me tighten down this coupler on there, make sure it's nice and firm. You wouldn't want that popping off or you getting a leak or something like that. And as I said before, you want to tuck your coolant line right around here, and then the wires, it can live right there. So, and now that we have our sensor gone ahead and installed, we can go ahead and snake this thing through. So what you're going to want to do is carefully there we go. Now I will have to go ahead and loosen that nut, but I just put it on there so it was nice and sturdy. So anyway, back to time-lapse mode. Alright guys, this is the final result. So this looks absolutely beautiful. And it went from this to this. And it was a pretty simple installation. I mean, if you follow step by step, I will say, I don't know if you got it on, if you'll see it, but I did struggle a little bit with putting this in. So you'll want to make sure your filter's already down in there before you put this thing in, just because it makes it a little bit more difficult. But yep, and then you'll want to go ahead and zip tie your hose up so it doesn't hit anything. But this definitely opens up a lot of opportunities for different applications. For instance, you get this whole side, and also a lot of the resonators, what makes the engine a little bit quiet is all that empty space right here, kind of, if that makes sense. I'll start it up in a second so you can hear it, but it definitely makes it a little bit louder than before. But anyway, we'll get it to start up. So very slight difference on sound, not much at all, but definitely a cool little cheap upgrade to your car. If you guys like this video, consider giving it a thumbs up, or even better, subscribing. If you guys want to see any further modifications to the truck, let me know in the comments below. So, thanks for watching, guys.